Move from player assessment to team development this weekend?
I wouldn't say so. I think, again, we have another game that we're preparing ourselves for with Buffalo coming in here tomorrow, and we plan on putting a lineup together that some players have obviously challenging one another here for spots, and again, that's what evaluation and training camp is for. And the development start part of training camp is more along the lines of the last week or the last 7 days of your training camp before you start your regular season.
How do you balance between what you see now and what guys have maybe done in the past?
Well, I think you always give people the benefit of the doubt. I don't think that you cast people aside. There's peaks and valleys that take place through the start of training camp. You'll always see that the things that you thought were locked in stone and the performances usually of younger players early in camp has a different effect towards the end of the camp, because of the veteran player and maybe not as serious about training camp as a young, energetic kid. And as lineups pare down, the competition in the games will get more competitive, and we expect our young players to continue to grow into competitive roles here and make sure that our veteran players are not putting themselves in a position where there's somebody who's working to take their opportunity or pushing them aside.
With respect to some of those younger players, have they ever required, a word or two of encouragement or just of direction, or have you noticed it's been organic with some like the Percys and the Granbergs and the Lavos, that they just understand through the atmosphere what's expected of them?
Well, I don't understand what you mean about a word.
Just like advice or anything, or they just understand intuitively that they.
Well, no, there's right from the very first day of training camp, you start off with a meeting and you instruct and enlighten people about what the situation is, and they've all been told. Now, along the way, we try to make sure that they stay focused on the task and not lose sight of the goal, and that's important for a young player. And we think that our young players have done a great job of competing for positions.
Randy, whether he ends up sticking with the big club or not, what kind of impression has a guy like Lavo made on you?
I temper all of my enthusiasm because this place kind of gets a little crazy with if the coach says this or the coach says that, and I think that, again, our young players are continuing to challenge, and the player that you spoke to is been one that's been noticeable in the games, so you can't go on beyond that and say that the development of him seems to have taken another step.
He's always been a player through his career, back to Sudbury, where he's been a late bloomer. Has he almost got better as his camp has went on?
Well, again, I think it's part of the maturing. I think a year in the American Hockey League makes a difference. I think another year of training. I think the skill set that he possesses, he's always been a player that's been able to score. He's been strong on the puck. And we saw that in the American Hockey League last year. We saw it for a couple of games that he played with us. But again, certain things happen, and your lineup is adjusted by contracts and whatnot, but he's one young guy that has made an impression.
How much importance do you put on a Lavo or Carrick or Kozin, any of those players, in learning from their peers out there, learning from the other players?
Well, I think that's part of being a team, and I think that your veteran players do display work habits that are professional, and I think that's imperative that your younger players be some sort of a sponge in those situations and watch that the veteran player creates himself a routine, how he prepares himself day to day, what time he arrives at the rink, what are the things that he's doing to warm up his body, what his nutrition level is. All of those things are all important and all encompassing for young players to grasp onto.
Is there any update on Talinder, Clarkson?
Talinder, is with a dislocated shoulder. There will be a further assessment with him. Clarkson will see a specialist this afternoon for another assessment on his cheekbone.
Is there a hope that you have pretty much a set roster heading to Collingwood for the 3 days?
I think you always have numbers, but sometimes changes, and automatically with the Talinder, we'd expected him to come with us and whatnot, but that doesn't happen. It's probable that he won't travel with us because of the injury. So then you're always affected by that stuff. But again, we have a number to get to. We have another game tomorrow night to use it as an assessment tool. And then really we go to Detroit on Monday night, and then we have one left. So it does time does become an issue. And as we all know, we're all motivated by deadlines in this sport.
Is Robidoux been cleared for contact?
Robidoux has been cleared for contact. He had a scan done yesterday, and the doctors cleared him for contact. So he will be available to us once we feel and he feels he has his feet underneath him.
Is there a chance you keep Talinder around, or does this kind of change the dynamic?
I cannot speak to that at this point, not knowing the severity of the injury and where he's at as far as a time frame.
Is Robidoux an option for tomorrow?
Not for me.